Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey. I'm also the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army. And today you're watching a special episode of Talking Downey with Mayor Mario. So welcome on there. So Memorial Day is a day of national recognition and where we honor the military men and women who died in service to the United States during peacetime and during war. This year, we also celebrate the 250th anniversary of our Army on June 14th, and the Navy and the Marines will also have their birthdays later on this year. During that time, millions of people have raised their right hand in taking an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And as we think about those who fought and died for our country, we remember the Continental Army's battle cry, which is also our theme for our anniversary for this year's Army founding. This will defend, which reminds us that our Army's purpose is clear: to fight and to win the nation's wars. We remain committed to honing our warfighting skills, enforcing standards and disciplines, and living the values that have defined our Army culture for the past 250 years. On Memorial Day, we reflect on that rich history and legacy of service, sacrifice, and dedication, from the Revolutionary War to our present-day missions. Our soldiers have consistently demonstrated their resolve to defend freedom at home and abroad. So our observance history. First observed after the Civil War, Memorial Day was kind of initially called Decoration Day because families gathered to remember their loved ones by decorating grave sites with flowers or flags. I saw that, my wife and I saw that on Mother's Day when we went and visited our mothers at their respective cemeteries. So this tradition continues across America today. Every Memorial Day, the soldiers from the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, place small American flags at every grave marker in Arlington National Cemeteries and all the soldiers and airmen's home national cemeteries. So in proclaiming that very first Decoration Day in 1868, General John Logan, National Commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, he wrote that we should not only remember those who have died in defense of our country, but also renew their pledges to aid and assist those with whom have left behind, the widows and the orphans. So we continue that to honor those left behind who paid the personal price for all of us in our nation. I'm speaking about the Gold Star families. Allow me to express my sincere appreciation to you on behalf of all those that today throughout our country and on behalf of our country. We are humbled by your sacrifice, inspired by your resilience, and grateful for your continued service to your communities. Of course, the first people to die in service of our country, they were fighting for what would become the United States of America. They were not disciplined professional army as we know them today. They were farmers, shopkeepers, teachers, and blacksmiths. They all came together to fight for the right to govern themselves and have more control over their financial and social well-being. So by 1775, the revolution had been brewing for years. The first shot was fired in Massachusetts in July, as we know. And a month later, General George Washington was commissioned as the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Army. The month after he received his commission, poor Washington, he expressed his concerns and his frustrations to a longtime friend and neighbor, Richard Henry Lee, and it's written out as part of the historical perspective that we can look back on. He said, I'd been at Army camp in Cambridge for a week, and he wrote, we have but about 16,000 effective men in all the departments. Whereas, by all accounts I received from even the first officers in command, I had no doubt of finding between 18 and 8,000 and between 20,000. Out of these, there's only 14,000 that are fit for duty. So after getting an accurate count of soldiers, that wasn't his only problem, of course. He didn't have the firepower. He didn't have the provisions. He didn't have a command structure. Yet with his leadership and determination, he crafted an army of desperate militia, haphazard supplies, undisciplined fighters. And with that army, General George Washington won the war for independence, ensuring that citizens today, you and I, enjoy the freedoms of speech, the freedom of worship, the freedom from want, and the freedom from fear. And by the end of the revolution, at least 6,800 American soldiers had given their lives to battle to ensure those freedoms. 17,000 died of disease, and between 8,000 and 12,000 died while prisoners of war. And over the last few years, more died from wounds sustained during the war than during the war. Many lived long lives with devastating wounds received in battle. On Memorial Day, we think about those who first served our country. We remember them as Americans' creed, that they gave their lives and their fortunes for freedoms that we enjoy today. We remember the service that all veterans throughout history in our great nation have defended our Constitution and our country from foreign and domestic enemies. Today's Army, from the Revolutionary War to present-day mission, our soldiers have consistently demonstrated their resolve to defend at home and abroad, and it's pretty special. And since its establishment in 1775, soldiers, civilians, and their families have supported our nation, bearing true faith and allegiance in our country, the Constitution, and the Army. Today, the Army is the largest of all the armed forces, and America's Army consists of more than 1.2 million people across the globe to defend our country. Army careers span the spectrum, from attorneys to astronauts to mechanics to doctors, engineers to chefs and musicians, all serve in the armed forces. And as our operational environment has changed over the years, we continue to innovate, to experiment, and invest in emerging technologies to stay ahead of our adversaries. We're always prepared to fight and win our nation's war. I'm so proud to be the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army. I was installed in January 7, 2017, the last week of President Obama's administration. And I've been reappointed every 2 years and now continue to serve for the last 8 years. It's one of the greatest joys of my life to be able to do this because I see so many amazing folks. I work with so many amazing leaders. I get to help our soldiers for life, those who continue to serve our country. And I also try to make sure that the doors are open for all our youth to know the opportunities available to them. So what's interesting is the military is not for everyone, not for by a long shot. Only 3 out of 10 graduating from high school are eligible for the United States Army. But every single one of our youth, every single one, regardless of what school you're at, should know the opportunities available to them in service to our country. Obviously, from the Army to other military branches. I'm partial, obviously, the Army. The Army stands ready to assist in times of need, such as disaster and recovery, too. We've seen this. We focus on all of the U.S. military combat-ready forces, but we recently saw that in the fires that are here. We see that through all the tragic things that happen throughout our country. From Palisades to Altadena, not only did we help defend our communities through our National Guard, and I was there that very first night, but also we helped clean it up with the Army Corps of Engineers. What an amazing feat that we've gotten so far with our United States Army. Last week, I had the privilege of emceeing our community salutes at the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall. Over 500 young men and women took an oath joining our military, our armed forces. Our community salutes is a program to be able to say thank you for those enlisting in our military. It was a proud day for many, and thank you for volunteering to serve. It's been said many times, nothing is stronger than the heart of a volunteer. And I was there with those families and the complete Bob Hope Patriotic Hall. It was touching to be able to see that all these young men and women took an oath. And that oath is very special. It's the same oath that I took. The oath is not to a king or a queen. The oath is to protect and defend this idea, the Constitution of the United States, which we have been now representing for over 250 years. So it's pretty special. So I want to call to action. I want to end and call to action. So this Memorial Day, I hope that we can remember the common bond that we have with all the soldiers and who have gone before us, who have selflessly sacrificed and served our country and paid the ultimate price. We remember that they gave for us and honor them not only on Memorial Day, but every single day that we should be honoring them. I know our country comes together to say, yes, thank you on this special day. And Memorial Day, it's not the same as Veterans Day. Veterans Day is when we recognize our veterans. On Memorial Day, we recognize those who have fallen for us. And if you tell that to a veteran on there, we should recognize them, but they're very close to that. So locally, we're having a Memorial Day ceremony at Downey Cemetery at 9:30. Well, we'll have a speaker if one of our officers will be there. We'll have our police and fire will do the color guard, and we'll play taps, and we have a bagpipe. But most importantly, we're all there remembering some of the names and paying tribute to those who have passed away. We have 350 veterans at the Downey Cemetery. I hope on Memorial Day, too, you can join by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We do it countrywide. Lower your flag. Go outside, pay attention to your flag. Pay attention to the tribute to those who have fallen. Personally, I participate in TAPS across America. So I do that, and I go outside and I play my trumpet. Not very well, but it's the heart and the meaning that happens. So I hope that you will all remember that they're gone from us and honor them, not only on this Memorial Day, but all the days that we have. So we say thank you, always and forever. So God bless you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please, I'd welcome your thoughts or comments, but regardless of what you say or do, make sure that on Monday you have them in your heart and your prayers for so many folks on there. I remember we built the memorial, a Veterans Memorial right in front of City Hall. And it was important to us because there was a Lance Corporal Josh Whittle that got killed in Afghanistan in only his second week. He came from Downey High School. So I remember Dr. Roger Brosmer and myself, and we went with our police and fire to go to Joint Forces Alameda's base to come pick him up. And we brought him home in the hero's welcome that he deserved. When we went by his school, our fire department had the flag up. When we came home to get him, they had so many people waiting for his casket. We did not have a good way to recognize and honor him. We did name a street at him over there in a development, Josh Whittle Way, but we built the Veterans Memorial in front of City Hall to make sure we honored him and all those before him. And his name had been forgotten and it had not been put in there. And Dr. Roger Brosmer and myself, just a few years ago, kept pushing on there to make sure that our city did the right thing, and they did. And on the right side, there's his name. It's the first one on that particular column. So Josh, we'll never forget you, and I know your mom's passed away now too. Your sister, I was able to talk to her, and she'll always be in my prayers, and so will all his friends and family. But there's a lot of Josh Whittles out there. Let's all keep them in our hearts and make sure that we're doing something to respect and honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. So God bless you and thank you, and spend your Memorial Day thinking of those heroes.